Good Thursday morning. It is February the 5th. I'm Will Puckett. We're glad you're joining us for Catch Up Quick here on this Friday Eve. We hope you're staying warm. We hope you're staying safe. If you are stuck at home with the kids, we hope that you are enjoying what should have been a day at school, but the brunt of winter weather that we just can't seem to shake had different thoughts this morning. First Alert meteorologist Sydney Sullivan is going to join me in a little bit to talk about when 50s creep back into the forecast. Here's the thing about those 50s. That's roughly where we should be this time of year. And so we are well below average today and probably a little bit into tomorrow. But as we get deeper into your weekend, things start looking a lot better. And those of you who are hoping for an early feel of spring, you might be in store for something nice. But again, Sydney will join us in just a second to talk about that. One of the biggest stories reaching the airwaves right now across East Tennessee is water issues in Jefferson County. We've covered this over the past couple of days and continue to bring you this continuing coverage right here on Catch Up Quick on WVLT Plus. We know that things might be beginning to get to a resolution in Jefferson County, as it seems like leaders there have an idea of when they can possibly start addressing their issues at their water plant. Here's what we know right now. Jefferson City, the Shady Grove Utility District, telling us that Jefferson City Water has turned their supply back on. Their pipes and tanks are slowly refilling. And while this is good news, they still ask everyone to conserve water where possible as the system continues to recover. They're also reducing non-essential use that'll help stabilize pressure and ensure that water reaches all customers as quickly as possible. Again, Shady Grove Utility District saying that Jefferson City Water has turned their supply back on, but it will take a little while for all of that to reach their supply, to reach their tanks, their pipes, and then get all the way back up. We also do know that Jefferson City Water did find a leak in the Gentry Hills area. They say they have patched that now, and that should help water get to areas in Jefferson County that have not had it for a little while, but are now getting ready to receive it. And so this is now just continuing coverage of the water issues in Jefferson County as officials there begin to take a look at the situation in Jefferson County as they start to refill those water. Or refilled that water. We also know that Jefferson County Mayor Mark Potts has declared a state of emergency. This happened Tuesday afternoon. This was so that they could start getting more resources to be able to supply water to people in Jefferson County who needed it. And so they're actively working to get that water to everyone who has had to go for a little while without, and they're now starting to, things are looking up as far as the water situation in Jefferson County. But we also know that there is a whole lot that still has to be done in order to get what they need to do to get to everyone, and that is water restored to every area. City officials tell us that they were working to replace faulty filtration membranes at the water treatment plant. That's what caused the low water tank levels and then limited water access to parts of the city and communities across Jefferson County. We've heard from people this week saying they're starting to reach out to friends and family who are on the well system and asking them, hey, can we borrow a little bit of your water? Can I take a shower at your place? Can we use your well? And so that's a positive, a win for well users, but also Jefferson City Water saying they're beginning to make strides in returning water to everyone who relies on them for water. City officials, though, say that they did have problems back in the summer, but this situation specifically is a little bit different than that.
They started seeing a inefficiency in output starting in December. Contacted our supplier at Veolia. They've come to do lab tests. They haven't come up with a reason why, or lab tests have become inconclusive. They now have these samples at their main lab to dig deeper to see if there is a deeper issue with the membranes.
Yeah, so they're waiting on those results before they can properly tell everyone, hey, here is the 100% for sure issue, and here is how we are further addressing it. But we also know that there are businesses in Jefferson County who are taking it upon themselves to help out their friends and neighbors. We're actually talking about water donations, and one business specifically who's saying, you know what, we take care of animals daily. Now it's time that we take care of our friends and families who rely on us to help out their families. We rely on them to help out our families. And so they went ahead and told our Grace and Thatcher, here's what they're doing to help out their friends and neighbors across the county.
A lot of our neighbors have had their water cut off.
The fear of no water, not only for themselves, but for their four-legged family.
I was just concerned, like, if their water gets cut off, where are they going to go? Will they have a place for their dogs? Will they be able to get water, or will it all get bought out?
It's scary not knowing like where their water's going to come from.
Now bringing a community together.
We just want to help our community, obviously. Yes, we care about the dogs, but we care about the humans too.
The Safe and Sound Paws initiative is gathering water donations across Jefferson County.
So community is everything. So if we can just help even at one family, like, hey, here's a pack of water. If that brings their, brings up their emotions just a smidgen, it's worth it.
With the goal to gather as much water as possible, their volunteers are driving to the homes of residents to deliver the water.
I hate to see anything bad happen in our community, but I like seeing everyone come together and want to team up to make sure everybody's taken care of.
Making their first delivery this morning.
Hey, our hearts are bleeding for you guys, so let us help you where we can.
That was our Grace and Thatcher reporting. Now, helping out Jefferson County while they are without water are their neighbors. Cott County is reaching out to Jefferson County, supplying a handful of pallets of water. This is Cott County Mayor Rob Mathis saying, look, we're stepping up to help out Jefferson County. Back when Hurricane Helene hit in September of 2024, Jefferson County did what they had to help us out. So now we're returning the favor. They said specifically Jefferson County helped them out, gave them water because at the time, they didn't have water to supply to their hospital, and that made quite a big difference at the time for Cott County. And so Mayor Rob Mathis again saying, we're helping out our friends and neighbors. But again, it's everyone in Cott County who's stepping up to help with this, or in Jefferson County rather, and across East Tennessee, trying to help out. There is some hope that Jefferson County has this figured out. Jefferson City Water possibly has some remedies to this in the short term, and then long term, they hope sometime next week to be able to get what they need to and then be able to replace what is ailing this water system and start rolling from there. All right, if you drive across anywhere in East Tennessee or probably almost the entire country, you're going to hit a pothole. That's because it's winter. Freeze, thaw, all of that salt and the brine that we put on our roads really doesn't help it a whole lot, or especially not help it last for a long time. We were able to actually make it out to East Emory Road, where there was a pretty sizable pothole, as you can see from this video, that it actually flattened and popped a couple of tires. And so we talked to people who had to pull over on the side of the road at East Emory and Dry Gap Pike near Weigels. They had to call out the highway patrol so they could sit a squad car right there and or a patrol car and make sure that no one hit this pothole that you can see right there. Just a very large pothole that actually popped some tires. We were able to talk to one man who told us that it did some pretty significant damage to his car, but the thing is when he was driving in the dark, he couldn't really see it, and then he just hit it, and well, poof goes his tire.
I was just driving down the road, and all of a sudden, the big pothole, you can't hardly see it in the dark or anything, and I ended up hitting it. As soon as I hit it, the tire blew, and the car won't even start back now.
So again, the highway patrol went out and put a cruiser to patrol that area, as you can see here, make sure no one went and hit that pothole. And then they did have Knox County crews come and patch that. The key right now is that it's only temporary patching. This stuff will probably remix up if we get another blast of rain, significant rain that's right at that cold temperature, or if we even get any more snow or ice, and then they have to plow, they have to put salt down. It's just going to re-rack this situation all over again. Usually mid to late April, early May is when those asphalt businesses get back up and running, and they can address those potholes in general. But you can report it to Knoxville, you can report it to Knox County. Almost every county in East Tennessee has a way you can report potholes to them, and then they can get that wet mix or the cold mix in there and at least halfway remedy the situation. Now, you can also let TDOT know on state routes or interstates that there are potholes, and you can report it directly to them. You can call your county, you can call your city. All you have to do is make sure you have an address or the nearest cross street to alert them to that. And then there is also a TDOT helpline if you have it on an interstate or a state route, so that TDOT can quickly remedy that. Here's the key. It's important to get all of that stuff on record, get it reported, because if it is not addressed, you could eventually be protected from this pothole, and the state could end up paying that repair. But there are a whole lot of hoops and ladders you have to jump through and climb in order to get that money. It has to be reported for so long by so many people, and then there has to be so long for not interacting with that or no action taken for that to truly matter. But it's still important to get those potholes reported to the proper channels, and then hopefully they will get addressed fairly quickly. But this one on East Emory at Dry Gap Pike, that was addressed yesterday, we were told, by Knox County crews, so there is hope that that's been remedied for you driving in that area of Powell. All right, all of this is available inside your WVLT News app too. You can go there to find all of the information to address all of the issues on the road and to report to Knox County, the city of Knoxville, TDOT, and then truthfully, it's not just here. You can do that in Blunt, Sevier, multiple Anderson, multiple other counties throughout East Tennessee. Let them know that there are potholes on your drive. Let's bring in First Alert meteorologist Sydney Sullivan with me as I scoot over. Sydney, you first alerted us to this nice blast of winter weather that would circle in after that rainfall yesterday. First Alert planned out. It went exactly like you all projected, but you and I were talking right after Knox County canceled class today that you have a little bit of concern for tomorrow morning as well.
Yeah, mainly because today temperatures for most of us barely getting above freezing, and it really depends on where you are. In the valley, especially for Knoxville, we'll get into the upper 30s, but we're still talking 30s.
Yeah.
So there is still that possibility that we could see some lingering impacts. It seems like this has kind of been the ongoing story all week long, because we're actually dipping yet again below freezing tonight.
We just can't seem to shake it. But I say that in jest because by this weekend, we're going to be able to shake it. But as you can see right here from this graphic, I'll let you hop into them here in just a second, that as we get the further east, the biggest impacts we'll see right now from this most recent bout of winter weather.
Yeah, exactly. We are looking at potentially another quick round of snow showers. I know many of us don't really want to hear that. I will say I love the snow, but seeing those lingering impacts, that's really where the problem rises. And we have to watch those overnight lows. So this is really going to be the key in the forecast. Is we'll kind of hint it. We will see some improvements as we head into the weekend, but it's kind of slow to rise. Those overnight lows still in the 20s, even barely reaching that freezing point by Monday morning. And then look at that. Overnight lows actually into the 40s. Sounds kind of nice, actually.
A lot of people are looking at this and being like, all right, time to break out the shorts. But as we go over today into tomorrow, and then as we get into the weekend, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so the rest of today, you might see still a flurry here or there, but most of us are drying out. Hopefully a break or two of sunshine, that would help us out. But again, temperatures remaining in the 30s, and then those overnight lows back into the 20s. Now, Friday's interesting. So we start out nice and dry, still chilly, could still see some of those impacts on the roads. But as we go towards lunchtime, early afternoon, yes, that is snow potentially headed our way. Now, it's not for everyone. I think it's a quick burst. We kind of call it a clipper system because it's essentially barely clipping us for tomorrow afternoon. So areas, especially from Morristown pushing east and north, best chance of seeing some snow. But where things are a little bit interesting is kind of on the backside of this system. We've been getting into a lot of that lingering moisture for the overnight Friday into Saturday morning. We could see still some lingering snow showers with those overnight lows yet again below freezing. But once we get past that, this is where we see kind of the light at the end of the tunnel here. We've got temperatures finally getting well above freezing for us by Sunday. 50 degrees on Sunday. What a drastic change. 60 on Tuesday.
Yeah, look
I'm
at that,
excited.
60 Tuesday and Wednesday. Yeah, and then everybody's going to be thinking about Friday and Saturday as they start working out their Valentine's Day plans
Oh, yeah,
too.
that's right.
So everybody's gonna be like, are we going to be able to eat outside if we're in Market Square, or maybe if we're going to Townsend for a nice night out?
You're coming up with some really good date ideas
Is
here.
Cameron watching? Are you going to send
You
him
know
this?
what?
Like,
I
hey, Will.
did hint to maybe tune in, so maybe he's taking some notes here.
Hey, Cameron, we got a couple of ideas for, not you, Cameron, Sydney's Cameron, don't worry. We're thinking about some Valentine's Day ideas for Sydney's Cameron. Okay, so a nice little warm-up on tap, that's the good news. But for right now, tomorrow into Saturday, be ready for quite literally anything Mother Nature could decide to throw at us.
We have certainly been on a roller coaster, but yes, I think we've got one more quick blast of some cold air and possibly some snow showers, and then we are thawing things out. A relief in sight.
A relief in sight. All right, obviously Sydney's full forecast is also inside your WVLT weather app. What else can folks go in there and find right now, Sydney, that they might not be able to get right here or in the newscast at noon?
Well, I'm actually going to be doing some updates right now in the app, and I'll send out kind of another breakdown of what we're expecting for tomorrow's forecast. We're getting in some new model data right now, so gonna go update it right now. It's a good tool to have. Also really good because we have the active radar on this app. I was using it last night. I kept checking, like, okay, when's the snow gonna move into the area? So it's a great tool to have on hand. I literally carry it with me all the time.
Yeah, that's to that point, as I find my words, to that point, it's perfect in East Tennessee, but it's also good if you go out of town and take it. When you go to visit your parents, when I go and visit my parents in Southern Indiana, I use that app, and so it's literally everywhere you go. It is perfect, and it's available to you 24/7.
Super helpful tool. Download it.
All right. Sydney just said that she's got to get ready for the noon. She's got new model data coming in, so we're going to go ahead and let her dash. Sydney, thank you so much. As we jump into, proud to be your official station of the Vols. It is a busy weekend coming up for UT. Tonight, the Lady Vols play a little bit of basketball on the hardwood. They're heading south to Athens to take on the Bulldogs. It'll be a tough test for the ladies as they look to get back in the win column. They're coming off of 2 straight losses. Obviously, that second half meltdown at number 1 UConn, and then that disappointing game at home against Mississippi State. Lady Vols have had a pretty good stretch against the Bulldogs. However, they did drop 1 game last year to them at home. Tip-off tonight for the ladies is at 6:30. You can catch that game on the SEC network. Plus, all right, we are also talking about cold weather, possible a little bit more snow in East Tennessee, but what about hopping on an Allegiant flight down to Clearwater, Florida? Because you could do that and then watch the Lady Vol softball team in action starting today. They're down in Clearwater. The next 2 weekends, they'll actually be in Florida. Look, they're going to some warm weather to get ready to play softball this year. Lady Vols ranked in the top 5. They're ranked 3rd in the SEC. That shows how good some of the SEC teams are, including Coach Weekly's Lady Vols. Coach is actually entering her 25th season at UT. She's already a Hall of Famer. She sat down with our John Sartori recently, and they talked about everything softball related when it comes to the orange and white and Summit Blue. But also they talked about maybe one of the biggest impact players in the entire country, pitcher Carlin Pickens. Here's Coach Weekly with our John Sartori.
It's already her senior year, and I'm sure it's flown by. Carlin Pickens is going to go down as one of the great Lady Vols of all time, not just with what she's done in the circle, but you were talking about earlier, the way that she's carried herself around Knoxville, around campus. She's been a fantastic ambassador, not just for the university, but the sport as a whole.
Absolutely. And, when Carlin set that miles per hour record and, social media blew up and all the attention, well deserved. But I told Carlin then, I said, it's my mission to make sure people know what a great human being you are and that your character far outshines any of your accomplishments on the softball field. They don't come any better than Carlin Pickens. She's a great teammate. She's a great leader. She has that perfect blend of confidence and humility, and she loves Tennessee. She is so loyal to this university and this program, and, we just absolutely love coaching her.
That is Coach Weekly talking about Carlin Pickens with our John Sartori. You can expect Carlin to take the circle tonight against BYU. That first pitch is at 7 o'clock. So also speaking of Carlin Pickens, how cool is this? She is the first softball player ever to sign an NIL deal with Athletes Unlimited Softball. All right, so the league says its partnership with Pickens will raise awareness of the AUSL as a place for athletes to continue their careers in the pro game. The league expanded to 6 teams ahead of its second season in 2026. So now Carlin, the first athlete ever to receive that deal from the AUSL. Great stuff for one of the Lady Vols' most impactful players and the fastest pitcher in the NCAA right now. All right, let's stick with the sports theme. We also have an update on Joey Aguilar's lawsuit. Again, it's his bid to play another season in Division I. All signs are pointing to it's an attempt to play another year on Rocky Top, but in college football these days, you have no idea if that is actually what is trying to be done. Fingers crossed it would be for the orange and white, but Aguilar now says that he is attempting to play another season in Division I football. Our partners over at VolQuest say that he can be with the team right now as his case works through the courts. A judge has granted him a temporary restraining order. It sounds a lot more intimidating than what it actually is. That does not guarantee that he'll be back in Orange this fall, but a hearing is set for next Friday, the 13th. Aguilar filed his own suit here in Knoxville. He was originally part of a suit that involved 20 other student athletes, but he said, you know what, I want to have a better chance of doing this quicker by myself, so he filed that in Knoxville. His hearing is a week from tomorrow. He is claiming right now that his years of playing junior college football should not count towards his Division I NCAA eligibility. We, along with our partners over at VolQuest, will be keeping an eye on this, and we will let you know what develops out of that. All right, breaking news right here on Catch Up Quick. We are learning that the Mooresburg Utility District has run out of water. A repair timeline is not known right now. All of this information is coming to us from the Hawkins County Emergency Management Agency. They say disaster relief agencies are actively donating bottled water and additional community support is appreciated. They say the Mooresburg Utility District is currently out of water and there is no timeline for repairs. They are taking water donations. If you have watered or bottled water you want to donate, you can do so at Mooresburg Utility District at 810 Old Highway 11W in Mooresburg. They are also saying that shower facilities are available to people at the East Rogersville Baptist Church Community Center. That's at 1100 East McKinney Avenue in Rogersville. Anybody else who has anything that relates to facilities, organizations, businesses who are willing to help out, all you have to do is call 423-923-1910. That's Jamie Miller, the EMA director, letting us know that. Again, just breaking into WVLT Newsroom, the Mooresburg Utility District, according to the Hawkins County EMA, is currently out of water, and the repair timeline is unknown right now. We are continuing to work to get more information and look at the impacts of people in Hawkins County and who receive Mooresburg Utility District water and how that is going to impact them moving forward. This is a story along with a whole host of others that we are working on for you today on WVLT News. I will join you here shortly at noon, and then your news will continue right here at 2 o'clock. And of course, starting at 3:30 on WVLT. We'll have your latest forecast at noon, along with the breaking news right now of the Mooresburg Utility District out of water and a timeline not known as it stands. For the rest of you, a cold weekend in East Tennessee as it unfolds. All right, as we speak, we are bringing you more updates on this situation about Mooresburg Utility District being without water. So they tell us they have a major leak due to the weather and are having a hard time finding it. That's draining the water tank and leaving customers without water, or their water is freezing. Now, the purchase from the Bean Station Utility, who has a major leak draining their tank, so they had to shut main water off to Mooresburg and Rutledge until they're able to fix their issues, a whole calamity of issues right now. Mooresburg Utility has been in contact with the state of Tennessee. They'll be back in touch, they say, later in the morning. They've also requested water to be brought in for their customers. They say that they are working to resolve things that they can. They only have 4 employees and 3 board members who are all working to remedy the situation. Again, we're learning that Mooresburg Utility District, per MUD, they have a major leak because of the weather, and they're having a hard time finding it as it stands. It's drained their tank, and customers who have been running their water to make sure that their pipes do not freeze have also caused a little bit of an issue, but they understand that because they've told you to let your faucets drip, but now it's creating an issue. They say that they purchased water from Bean Station Utility, who has a major leak themselves, and so they had to shut the main water valves to Mooresburg and Rutledge off until they resolve their issues. That just coming in to us from the Mooresburg Utility District. So we're keeping an eye on this. This is a look at that post on Facebook from Hawkins County, letting everybody know that they're potentially going to be without water for a while, but part of that is because of an issue that Bean Station Water is having there. All of this fixing to be inside your WVLT News app, and we'll bring you the latest updates on this on WVLT News at noon. For now, we'll let you check out the Red Pandas at Zoo Knoxville here on WVLT Plus, and we will continue to bring you breaking news updates streaming 24/7 right here, and of course, all the time inside your WVLT News app.